What's up, everybody? My name is James McCool. I'm the owner of PaterDFS.com. You know me from Twitter at Pater_DFS. And today is going to be the third episode of Community Conversations. This is just kind of a series that I've been putting together where I just kind of take some conversation that I've been having lately, typically with the Discord over at Pater, which is free to join. You can find the link on the site. But today we're actually going to be going over a concept that I think is kind of important to talk about that was not had necessarily in the community. I've talked about it a couple times in the Discord, but this actually happened on a more recent conversation that I had with a friend of the industry, Chris Emmerich, over on his live show that he does called The Shark Cove, which I was on last night. If you missed that, then go find him and check that out as well. I'll try to find a link to that and put it in the description. But so today's going to be a little bit different, but it's still an important concept that I think should be noted and can be talked about a little bit more, and it's something that I kind of wanted to expand on and put some thoughts out there. And that concept is going to be the relationship between being a content creator and being a DFS player or a bettor or whatever, and kind of the decisions that have to be made in the way that I go about, and not only me, but content creators in general go about putting out information and interacting with their communities and with their subscribers and with the people that rely on them to make decisions on any given slate. So I was talking to Emmerich yesterday off the show. You know, we had done the show and we talked about League of Legends. We talked about the slate overall, and from the results, looks like we both did terrible, but that doesn't really matter. I'd had a couple glasses of wine while we were doing the show, and I was talking to him afterwards, and you know, we were having a good time, and we were talking about the industry and the fantasy industry overall, and content creation and why it's so difficult to be a content creator and a player at the same time. For him especially, you know, he's an esports DFS player, so the contests are typically small, and usually there's 6 or 7 guys that are mainstays in all of the high-end contests, right? And when you are producing content and you're a main player in the industry in that specific niche, you have to be really careful with what you give out and what you play. And, you know, he was talking about how maybe half of the entries in the high dollar contest in League of Legends watch his show. And so, you know, as a content creator, as somebody who goes on that show and talks about the things that he likes, things that he dislikes, it can be harmful to your own bottom line if you are putting out information that reduces your edge too much and puts you in a position where you are not necessarily giving away the secret sauce, but letting people know what you plan to do, especially in smaller contests, things where maybe there's 20 or less entries in any given contest. If half of the contest knows what you as a player are likely going to be doing, then half of the contest can kind of say, okay, well, do we want to continue to go against that, or do we think that we can leverage that by doing this other thing? Likewise, there's a lot of mental kind of warfare that goes on there of if half of a contest knows what the best thing to do is going to be, and half of the contest knows who the other guys are that are going to be paying attention to that, they can make decisions based off of that partial information gained that can leverage the rest of the field and put them in a better position to win. So, as a content creator, that's kind of a struggle that I think we all have to deal with, and it's something that I struggle with and that I have struggled with. I was talking about back when League of Legends was like the main thing back during the pandemic, right? That was when Pater started up, and we did very, very well. I still consider my site to be the one with the best esports projections in the entire industry, and I'm very proud of that. But back then, we were doing something called the anchor strat, where I would give my breakdown in the slate, and then I'd say, okay, here's the 2 highest scoring games based on projections. You're going to want to split these games, and then you're going to want to pair them with the highest favorite, and then have one more lineup where you're hedging the highest favorite with the highest upside team. If you want to know more about the anchor strategy, we can talk about it in the Discord, but that's for another day, right? But in doing that, I'd basically be giving away the edge that I have as a player to my subscribers and to the people that pay me for that kind of information. And I have no reservations with that. It's one of the reasons why I don't play for a living anymore, or at least I prefer not to play for a living. It's because I'd rather give out information that's actionable to other people because it makes me feel better and more fulfilled to be helping other people rather than playing DFS by myself. But in doing that, the site was first starting up and I did need to play to make a little bit extra money. So I had to be very careful. People would ask me, what do I think is the best way to go about things? And I have to go through that decision in my own head of, do I want to give out my edge right now that could possibly, help me pay rent this month? And that's kind of a hard decision to make. And I think that all content creators kind of go through that a little bit. Granted, there are a lot of content creators in this industry that don't necessarily give out their specific view of the slate. They'll give a very cookie cutter view of the slate. They'll write things that are very, I don't want to say obvious, but obvious to people who have models and understand the slate from a higher point of view. So, for me, it's always been kind of a struggle, and I know that other high-end content creators have dealt with this as well. This is something that is specific to DFS, I will say that. There's not much that you lose from giving out prop betting information or betting on games or whatever. Like, the betting markets, I think, have made this a much more synergistic relationship, right? Synergy is the word of the day, where content creators and subscribers can all hit something at the same time, and then the books will adjust it, and maybe subscribers who weren't paying attention don't get the same line, and that sucks. But at least the content creator is not necessarily losing anything by giving out that information. You don't lose edge because you're against the house. You're not against the other people, and the painful reality of the situation is that as a content creator, I am technically against my subscribers in the contest that we play. If I ever end up in, say, a 20-man contest for a ticket or for a winner-take-all or something like that, and I have 4 subscribers in that contest, and the harsh reality of that is that I am playing against my subscribers. There is going to be one of us who is taking money from the other ones, if one of us wins that contest, right? So that's kind of a not great taste in my mouth as a content creator, and it makes the prop betting markets a little bit easier to swallow for sure. And I hope that I can continue to provide better in that way, because that feels a lot more synergistic and doesn't feel as bad. But I think that this is something that all content creators deal with, and I think that it is kind of a hard thing to struggle with. So staying on the topic of content creation, that was one part of the conversation that we had. And then another part of the conversation was the authenticity behind content creation, and how in this industry that it's no secret that there are a lot of content creators who get by on their personality, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that there are a couple different ways to approach DFS, and whenever I do coaching, one of those ways is playing for fun, right? Playing for entertainment. And if what you want to do with your $20 or with your $30 or whatever, however much you have in play that day, it can be up to $5,000. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? But if you're playing for entertainment, I think that part of the entertainment value is the entertainment that you are getting from the person that you are going to for content, right? Like, it all comes together as one piece of entertainment value. So if you are playing for entertainment, then you want entertainment in the content that you are absorbing, in the shows that you're watching, in the Discord that you're in the community that you're in, and then also in the games that you're playing and the contests that you're playing. It all comes together if you are playing for entertainment. So there is something to be said of, like, even if the content creator that you're going to is not necessarily making you a whole bunch of money, at least they're very entertaining in the way that they are giving you stuff to play, right? So that there are a lot of content creators that go down this route, and I think that that's an entirely viable way to go about things. On the other hand of that, right, there are content creators that people go to for profitability and for EV and stuff like that. I think that Blender, Jordan Blender, he's the guy that I have written Theory DFS with, and that I'm writing with the second copy of Theory DFS with that comes out the end of next month. He's somebody who I think is very much so, like, people go to him to improve their profitability, to improve their expected value, to improve the way that they are playing. They don't necessarily go to him for entertainment value. He's an entertaining guy, but he, as a content creator and as somebody who is putting out information into the ecosystem, is more putting it out there as a way to help people improve. Whereas somebody like why can I not think of his name? I don't know. There are guys out there that are really putting out information to be entertaining and putting out content to make people's lives more enjoyable and make their DFS experience more enjoyable and not necessarily make their experience more profitable, right? So that there are multiple ways to do it, and I think that the authenticity of putting out content is really important in that thought. And being able to put together content that is authentically you and is not forcing you into this box that you don't belong in. Like, Blender would not do well in a position of being super entertaining as a content creator. He in his core, in his authentic self, is built in a way of, I want to make money doing this. Like, he focuses on the profitability. He focuses on the expected value. He doesn't necessarily focus on it being an entertainment aspect. Whereas there are other guys out there who, if you were to put them in a role of the same thing that Blender is doing, where if you were to say, hey, you need to make these guys more profitable, you need to make these players find better ROI and have better expected value over time, they wouldn't be able to do it near as well. And so that typecasting, I think it doesn't work as well in this industry. And I think there's a lot of guys and a lot of girls out there who want to be in this industry and they feel like they have to be a certain way. And the reality of the situation is, the best way to put together content is to put together content that you enjoy putting together and that you think is actionable in your own way. Like, I have been with a lot of companies in my time in the industry, and there have been companies that I have worked very, very well with, and there have been companies that I probably wasn't a great fit for. And I've always been able to fit the mold of whatever I need to be in. That's one of my strengths. But where I have blossomed the most is being able to put together content the way that I want to put it together, and being able to put together models the way that I want to put it together, and explore and be more experimental and do things in a more boom or bust, feast or famine way, right? I have never been exceptional at writing to a prompt. I have always been exceptional at writing to a thought, right? And putting things together in a way that I think is actionable in its own unique way. So I just think that there are a lot of people out there who maybe are putting together content in the wrong way. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are maybe subscribing to content for the wrong reason. And that comes from the way that you want to play, the goals that you've put together as a content consumer. And then as a content creator, if you feel like you have to be putting things together in a way that's not authentically you, then you're not doing it right. And I think that you should reconsider the way that you are looking at the industry and reconsider the way that you want to put together content. You should never be somebody who you're not just because you think that it'll pay off for you later, because you won't feel fulfilled in the way that you're doing it. So yeah, this was all just stuff that I felt should be said and is true about the industry that we're in, and is true in any content creation industry, not just DFS, not just sports betting. That kind of stuff is more applicable to the first point of this, of that relationship between a content creator and a content consumer. That is more consistent in the DFS and betting industry, but creating content that is authentically you can extend to any form of creative process and any form of content creation, whether it be art or it be NFTs or it be DFS or it be journalism or book writing or whatever, whatever creative outlet you have. Don't feel that you need to be putting things together in a way that is popular, or putting together things in a way that you feel will be seen by more people. Put things together the best way that you can, and then promote it the way that you promote it. That's the best way that I would say for anyone that wants to join content creation. That's the way that I would say to do it. So this is going to bring kind of a close to episode 3 of content or of community conversations. Thank you guys for watching these videos, and and paying attention. And if you have not gone and looked at paydirtdfs.com in recent weeks, you absolutely should. There's a lot of more free content that I've been putting together. There's a lot of free models that I've been putting together. And if you don't have a subscription, and if you do have a subscription, the sites have been exceptionally strong for all sports that are offered right now. We now have MMA models as well, so go check that out. And if you're interested in some more coaching or some more one-on-one stuff, jump in the Discord, talk to me, and talk to the community at large. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, my name is James McCool, and I will see you guys next time on the next episode of Community Conversations.